Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Impact Wrestling results. But as usual, some brief TNA news. Former TNA personality Johnny Fairplay will appear on the Judge Alex TV show on Wednesday. And you can view it on YouTube.com. Watch, feature equals player underscore embedded the ampersand sign V equals CZI7AXO underscore LWY ampersand list equals capital U MOU capital P1 TM capital W QX capital J YS L I capital H capital L little d big A, little g, big double A. Fairplay is trying to get independent wrestling promoter coach Mike Jones to pay him for an appearance fees he is allegedly owed. And you can check out your local listings for the station and air times in your area. The clips are worth watching, if for no other reason than to see Jones wearing his coach headband and whistle. Living the gimmick, brother. Joel Luke of Ottumwa, Iowa, pleaded guilty to 5th-degree theft and was sentenced to 2 years probation for his part in the theft of the TNA title belt, according to Heartland Connection website. Forrest Jameson, who was charged as an accessory, still has his case pending, and you read more on the story at heartlandconnection.com/news/story.ASPX ID equals 819856 dot UJHVF7RQ0QY. Luke and Jemison are accused of stealing the TNA title belt a couple months ago, which is valued at $6,000, and a replica title belt valued at $400 when they only sell for $250. The theft occurred back in August at a live event. The NWA has announced the 8 wrestlers that will compete for the vacant NWA Championship on Friday at an event in Clayton, New Jersey. The 8 wrestlers are Chance Prophet, Biggie Biggs, Jason Kincaid, Lance Erickson, Damian Wayne, Anthony Nese, formerly of TNA, Lance Anoa'i. I believe that's one of Rikishi and Yokozuna's sons, and Papa Don. I assume this means that they are holding a tournament. It's unclear based on the promotion's Facebook advertising. The champion will be crowned at the NWA Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators event. The pro wrestler Brad Armstrong, a.k.a. Robert James, and sad news, and my condolences going to his family. That's Road Dogg's brother and also a referee from WWE, Scott Armstrong. He died earlier today at the age of 51. WWE website reported that he was found dead in his home. He had been being treated by a physician for an undisclosed medical issue. You can read the WWE report at www.com/inside/Brad Armstrong passes -260-65152. That's 260-65152. Brad is the brother of the WWE referee Scott Armstrong, WWE agent Brian Road Dogg James, and his brother Steve also wrestled. He helped induct his father Bob Armstrong into the WWE Hall of Fame last year. Hulk Hogan went on off-record show on TSN in Canada yesterday to promote Impact and discuss his sex tape, his new approach on life, and recent surgeries. He also told the story that he was almost a guy with a Foreman grill and took some interesting rapid-fire questions. And you can see the video at watch.tsn.ca /off-the-record clip 792544 pound clip 79 2544. Hogan was very comfortable here, but the interviewer cast a shadow on everything Hogan said by pointing out he's worked his entire professional life. Still a fun interview, and I don't think the guy meant any harm. TNA legend Hulk Hogan and radio jock Todd Clem, a.k.a. Bubba Love Sponge, have settled their lawsuit that Hogan filed over the sex video that featured Hogan and Clem's ex-wife. And it's quoted by saying, "It's my belief that Hogan is not involved and has not ever been involved in trying to release the video or to exploit it or otherwise gain from the video's release in any way." Clem said in a statement, "You can read more on the story at tmz.com/2012/10/29/ Hulk Hogan sex tape lawsuit settlement, Bubba the Love Sponge, Heather Clem." Bubba did a 180 after previously suggesting it was possible that Hogan was behind the release of the tape. The financial terms of the settlement were not disclosed, and Hogan is still going after Heather Clem and Gawker Media in separate lawsuits relating to the video. And now for your Impact Wrestling results from Spike TV. Aired from Orlando, Florida in the Impact Zone. Jeremy Borax and Todd Kenley, the new announcers, for the first hour, welcomed us to the show and introduced Joseph Park, who was already in the ring with a microphone. Joseph recounted how he was tortured and captured, and tonight he was standing up for himself as a man. He said he is not a wrestler, but he wants to fight Aces and Eights. He challenged any member of Aces and Eights to a match. 4 members made their side entrance and surrounded Park in the ring. Kurt Angle's music hits and he charged the ring. The Aces and Eights guys swarmed Angle, and Sting ran out with a bat to chase him away. Sting guaranteed that someone from Aces and Eights were getting their masks removed tonight. The announcers hyped ODB, calling out Jesse, Devon versus Bully Ray, and the gut check with Christian York. Brutus Magnus spoke briefly backstage about looking forward to unmasking a phony as they go to commercial break. Good opening. They have a hook for the rest of the show, and Magnus gave a little incentive for viewers to stick around through the commercial break. Well done. Jesse complained backstage about an ear infection backstage and about having to deal with ODB. Tara talked about how they were a power couple. Jesse said he needed sterilization, and Tara said that they hadn't talked about kids as she squirted Purell on his hands. Magnus called out Joe for a shot at Joe's TV title. Magnus said that Joe doesn't represent the company well, and they needed someone with a better face. Joe quickly answered the challenge and cuts Magnus off. So the first match of the night is your TV championship match. Samoa Joe versus Magnus for the TV title. 2 men traded control several times. Joe scored an Uranagi that sent Magnus rolling to the floor. Magnus looked for something under the ring and pulled out what appeared to be a wrench. Joe charged Magnus, but he blasted Joe with the wrench, causing the disqualification. And the match only took 3 minutes 38 seconds out of our lives. Hogan, Sting, and Joseph Park spoke backstage briefly before Kurt Angle charged into the room with Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe. Angle was out for blood, so Hogan told him that he could have Devon at Turning Point. And the group decided to go and fight Aces and Eights tonight and rip off some masks. Commercial break. TNA is still trying to cram a bit too much into each segment of TV, but they're doing a good job of hammering home, stating that they're going to unmask somebody tonight. Joe was icing his head backstage and fuming over Magnus' attack. He said he wanted Magnus again with no rules, and he promised to kill Magnus. A video package of Jeff Hardy putting his face paint on while his thoughts aired. I'm not a big fan of these new Hardy videos. It's too much shades of John Morrison with his slow-mo. But it's different if it didn't sound so heavily scripted and Hardy didn't come off as lifeless. Next up, we got Kazarian and Daniels coming out, and Kazarian did more of the Spanish shtick that annoyed people from last week. Daniels called out the Spanish announced team of Hector Guerrero and Willie Urbina. The announcers looked confused as the show went to commercial break. Back from the break, Kazarian asked the Spanish announcers if they were Mexicans or Mexicans. You get it? Mexicans or Mexicans. They still didn't want to fight, so Daniels and Kazarian began beating the two men down. Chavo and Hernandez ran out to make the save, and Chavo was irate. Kenley noted that the two teams will meet at Turning Point. Then they showed Christian York video package, and his brief history with TNA aired in the early years. York was shown getting warmed up for his gut check challenge as they go to commercial break. Already tired of this story, I wish wrestling companies could get past stereotypes and have heels be jerks without always falling back on cheap heat from racial remarks. ODB was on the phone with Eric Young again, talking about how she was going to fight Jesse, and she told him to bring the fried chicken, which he didn't show up. Again, probably doing his TV show again. Alright, we got match number 2, Christian York versus Zema Ion in a gut check match. York outpaced Ion and managed to get in a great deal of offense. Ion rolled to the outside and York followed, only to get caught with a hot shot. York made a comeback with a neck breaker that was so good I stopped my clock and what I thought was a 3 count. York going through the ropes, and Ion kicked the rope to crotch him. Ion followed with his arm snare armbar for the submission win. Zema Ion defeated Christian York in 4 minutes 15 seconds. A-Double was walking backstage with the TNA title, the one that he chooses as a title, as Jeff Hardy has his old new belt. He said he considers himself still to be the TNA champion, and he excused himself for some business he had to take care of. He walked into a room with Robbie E and Robbie T as they go to commercial break. TNA was so close to having a good moment there. York has a good unique story to tell, and he looks the part of a professional wrestler. And his actual look reminds you of the wrestler of the movie. And TNA could have something with him pulling out the surprise victory where I thought the match ended. Instead, he's just another guy that got his gut checked and loses. This concept is so underutilized. The match itself was a bit of a mess with several botches. It seemed like it was a timing issue between the two men, that it was York not being able to perform spots. And actually, Ion was a little bit slow in his spots. So again, the timing was off between either one of them. Backstage, Garrett Bischoff spoke with Bully Ray and told him that he's got Bully's back. Bully was called to where aces and eights were, as somebody had got their attention and told him. And TNA had a little brawl backstage. Aces and eights beat a retreat before their mask could be taken. Another backstage segment as she's headed to the ring. ODB calls out Jesse after a slew of mocking comments, which he quickly obliged. ODB versus Jesse with Tara. ODB got in some early offense, but Jesse quickly tossed ODB back in the ring. ODB retaliated, and Jesse tried to run. ODB caught Jesse and bounced his head on her crotch repeatedly. And the final crotch, he did it on himself. Very good, Jesse. Way to go. Get you a few cunt shots in. Jesse slammed ODB a few times and went for another kiss from Tara. ODB hit another flurry of offense, jawed with Tara. And as he was jawing with Tara, as Tara was on the ring apron, Jesse rolls her up for the win. And the match only took 3 minutes 38 seconds out of our lives. Mike Tenay replaced Kenley for the second hour on commentary, and Tenay told viewers that Taz was with his family after his home was in the line of Hurricane Sandy. And my condolences to all the East Coast that is having this issue going on with Hurricane Sandy. That did nothing to make me care about Jesse one way or the other. They went for comedy rather than having a serious match, but the ODB brand of comedy has never really appealed to me, minus the Eric Young comedy. Robbie E and Robbie T make their entrance. Robbie E said that the most memorable part of the Bound for Glory series was him beating Jeff Hardy, so he was calling out TNA champion to repeat his former glory. Hardy makes his entrance and puts some extra face paint on as he's walking down the ring entrance. Match number 4, Jeff Hardy versus Robbie E with Robbie T. The two men brawled to the floor, and when the referee's back returned, Robbie T threw Hardy into the barricade. As they got a commercial break, Robbie E was in control when the show returned from the break. Hardy quickly came back and hit the twist of fate, followed by a swan time for the 1-2-3. Hardy defeated him in 7 minutes 35 seconds. A-Double makes his entrance and mocked Hardy for dropping his belt. Aries referred to himself as the greatest wrestler in the universe, and he guaranteed to beat Hardy at Turning Point. The fans chanted overrated at Aries. Hardy told Aries that they needed to do their rematch right. And he fetched a ladder. Hardy said their match would be a ladder match. The end of that segment, a video of Matt Morgan showed up at Hogan's beat shop or whatever it was, and he took one of the souvenir coats. I believe that it was from one of the Rocky movies, the robes, and he started wearing it. James Storm spoke with Hogan backstage and asked for a chance to compete for the TNA title. Hogan said he had an idea. The longest match of the night has been one that existed mostly in a commercial break. TNA is still working that frenetic pace, and that shoves too much into each segment and giving little focus to anything. While I am looking forward to the match we will get from Aries and Hardy, I am underwhelmed by Aries' new character. It is looking more and more like CM Punk, a little more every week. Commercial break, and then they have Bobby Roode making his entrance. Roode said he wasn't out there to fight. He was out there to state a fact. Roode said he was getting screwed because he wasn't giving the shot against Jeff Hardy last week. AJ Styles came out and mocked Roode for whining and complaining, which made me laugh considerably because that's what constitutes the majority of Styles' complaining. Styles then proved a point by complaining, and he mocked the affair storyline he was involved in, and then he also mentioned the elevator pictures, TNA copying WWE. And he also, Styles challenged Roode to a fight. Roode said no, but then he attacked Styles when Styles' back was turned. He wasn't looking. Two men brawled briefly. Styles dumped Roode to the floor. During this little segment, it was supposedly unscripted. AJ said, and looked kind of, it's like, yeah, like, it's just common sense with the AJ storylines. He didn't mention WWE at the time. It's just stories with elevators with the names of AJ. Hogan made his entrance with James Storm. He said both men deserved a title shot, but they needed to earn it. And Hogan makes a Turning Point match with being a triple threat, and each man will compete for the title shot. And the man who is pinned getting the shot at the title won't get another title shot until next year's Bound for Glory. Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan were shown walking backstage as they're setting up for their match or whatever. Morgan had Hogan's robe on as they go to commercial. Interesting stipulation. It seems a bit unnecessary, but I am curious to see what they do with it. This segment was alright, but the Styles pot shot at a current WWE storyline was a big groaner. Even if the Styles storyline had been good, which it wasn't, I would still prefer TNA to move past the snide remarks and focus on them every time they do one of these little quips. Just makes it look Bush League and points out that they are second best. Well, JB and Tenay ran down the Turning Point card so far. Then you get Matt Morgan and Joey Ryan making their entrance. Morgan said he had enough of being ignored by TNA and recounted how he had been attacking people at house shows to get some attention. Morgan said he would eat through the entire roster and shit it out until he gets a TNA title. Joey Ryan called out RVD for the Fight Night Challenge and said he was going to prove how the X Division title could be X-rated. So we got RVD versus Joey Ryan with Matt Morgan in his corner. RVD beat down Ryan quickly and set up for the 5-star Fall Splash, but Morgan pulled Ryan to safety. Ryan caught RVD with a roll-up for the quick victory. With a little bit of help from Matt Morgan, of course, and the match only took a minute and a half. RVD attacked Ryan after the match. Morgan put a stop to that with a carbon footprint. Devon was shown getting ready for his match backstage. Commercial break. Quick match, but it was effective in putting a bit of heat on Morgan while giving Ryan a talking point for promos by being able to brag about a victory over the champion. Bully Ray gave a shout out to the people living in the Northeast. He told them to stay hardcore, and he dedicated this match to them. Being the Hurricane Sandy, he then called out Devon. Devon ran from Ray, and Ray grabbed a table. Devon elected to call in reinforcements. Ray grabbed a chain and backed up almost 10 members of the Aces and Eights on his own. The TNA locker room emptied, and we have ourselves another little brawl. Devon was left alone with Ray, but the Aces and Eights big guy saved Devon. He wasn't so big. Joseph Park ran out and got beat up for a bit, but Park stripped his mask off and revealed Luke Gallows. Gallows chokeslams Park through the table, and the announcers failed to say his name despite saying they knew who he was. Not a shocking reveal if you keep up with the sites like mine and all the dirt sheets, but I enjoyed the execution. My problem with Aces and Eights is that TNA let out so much steam at Bound for Glory with the lackluster Devon reveal, and it's been almost him ever since. Hopefully more reveals will roll in, and that will be no longer be the case. Tonight's show was solid, but there was still several aspects I didn't care for. TNA set themselves on a creative direction at Bound for Glory that just does nothing for me and seems to have undone a lot of the forward progress that they made over the last year. Still plenty of time for that to change, but TNA has some ground to make up in my eyes before I can consider myself excited about their product. And they still haven't had their promised return to Boulder City or Shreveport, as they have never been in Shreveport, ever, in their history of TNA wrestling. Or will it be NWA TNA? And that ends my report for the Impact Wrestling for this week. Thanks for watching. Peace out.